In this video, we will cover more about the Google Calendar and specifically the edit events. So once you find your Google Calendar, you notice that my name, Robert, right here is selected, so we see my events for today. And actually, I'm going to go to Alfredo this time. Let's populate Alfredo's lessons. If I click on this cell right here, you notice this window pops up where it says delete or edit event. I'm going to edit event, or you can just double click on the cell and the edit event window, edit event window pops up. So we see the student's name up here at the top, and just below that we have the date it starts, the date, the time ending, and the date ending. Right here we see it's repeating. So when this checkbox is checked, it is repeating weekly. If I want to edit how it repeats, we can see this window controls that. Repeats weekly, repeats every 1 week. If, for example, we had a student coming every other week, it would be every 2 weeks, and you see this down here, every 2 weeks on Thursday. However, we don't normally do that. It's very rare. For all intensive purposes, it's only repeating every week. This started back on February 2nd of this year, even though today's date is the 30th. It never ends, so we just keep it going on and on. Generally, you don't have to mess with any of these properties, so I'm going to click cancel just in case I moved something. Right here is where we see the location, and this is the room we're in. I will get into rooms in just a little bit. So let's skip over that for a second and see the calendar. This is a very important field because we need to make sure that we have the right instructor in this field. For example, we have the correct one, we see Alfredo. However, when you're operating on the studio computer that has all of the instructors, we need to make sure that it doesn't default to a different instructor. So always check that, make sure that's the right one that you want. Right here is the description field, or on the mobile app it's called Notes. This is a very important field because it tells us everything about our student. Piano, female, 9 years old. Clint is the dad's name, and here's his phone number. Sylvia, I'm assuming, is the mother's name, and here's her phone number. Catherine's mom cannot bring her in for lessons during the summer. So there's just a little note. So these things right here follow the cell as it goes from week to week to week, month to month. There are, however, some things that don't follow. I know that sounds confusing. I will get to that in just a little bit. Below that, you'll see the event's color. Now I'm going to click on gray because it should be gray. We have a key that we use to depict what the colors mean. On the desktop, here's what they're called: bold red, orange, yellow, blue, green. Bold green, green, turquoise, blah, blah, blah. On the mobile app, for some funny reason, I don't know why, they named the colors with a different name. So on the desktop version, it's called bold red. For example, if I hover over the red, you'll see that it says bold red. However, on the mobile app, that same color, and yes, we've tested this to make sure it is correct, is called tomato. So we need to watch out which colors we're actually pressing. If I hover over this one, it's called red. And you notice we don't use red for anything. On the mobile app, it's called Flamingo. Orange, I believe this is, yeah, orange. We don't use that for anything, but on the mobile app, it's called Tangerine. So let me jump into what we actually do use. The gray is graphite on the mobile app, and that's our normal reoccurring lesson. That's our lesson that happens week to week. Nothing's fancy about it. If it's yellow, that's what we use for makeup lessons right here. Yellow on the desktop, it's called banana on the mobile app. Makeup lessons or caution, something else is going on. Generally, it's a makeup. Bold red, like we said before, is tomato on the mobile app. For some reason, they didn't show up. They're absent, not coming in, didn't show. That's what that means. Bold green is the student is discontinuing lessons shortly. And that just gives us heads up that that slot will be open soon. Green is Sage on the mobile app. Means it's an open slot. Bold blue is a new lesson or incoming lesson. That generally only happens 1 week, and then it reverts back to normal graphite gray. And purple is pending, or not final yet, meaning that we think we have a student that's coming in for that slot. However, if the day comes and you still see it as purple, you need not show up for that lesson because it is still pending. Let me travel back to our calendar, and we will cover the rooms section in the next video.